Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Dan Bongino could be tapped next to head the Secret Service. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, guys, please follow that address in the lower right-hand corner. It's youtube.com/@ExplainAmerica. And when you get there, please hit subscribe absolutely free. It really helps us out. Dan Bongino, you know him from Fox News. You know him from his own podcast. But you also know he's a former Secret Service agent, a former New York City police officer. The guy knows his stuff. He's great. Well, what you might not know is that he posted a photo recently on his own X page. It used to be called Twitter. And it showed him meeting with President Donald Trump. Now, speculation ran wild after the posting of that picture, but it gets even more. See, in Washington, D.C., the scuttlebutt has been for weeks that Dan Bongino is going to be the man that President-elect Donald Trump taps to head the Secret Service. Can't think of anybody better myself. It's perfect. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, the left is going to be furious about this. Well, maybe, but they're furious about everything. But a lot of President-elect Donald Trump's detractors, they're saying, hey, you know what? Dan Bongino actually would be a great pick for the Secret Service. I was surprised by it too, right? Because they have been screaming the sky is falling since the day of the election. I mean, you got to see it out there if you don't follow on, and I follow a lot of accounts on Facebook and X. I don't just follow conservatives. I like to watch the meltdown from the left, and I like to see what they're saying, what's going on in the left's ecosphere, so I can tell you guys what's going on. Well, they're melting down at pretty much every pick Trump has. They're melting down at people whose names they didn't know until the day he picks them, but they're still having a meltdown because all the talking heads in their echo chamber, well, they're telling them to have a meltdown. They're telling them how horrible the picks are. But one guy actually stood up. He's an enemy now, used to be friend, now a detractor of President-elect Trump. That man's name is Geraldo Rivera, and what he said about Dan Bongino might surprise you. I want you to take a look at this video and let me know what you think in the comments.
And it is interesting to get your perspective as someone who's spent a lot of time with him. But I also want to ask you about Dan Bongino, because I'm sure that you saw this. He's being floated as Secret Service director, the possibility of... I mean, there you go. And I just want to be clear for our viewers who aren't familiar. You two sparred a lot on Fox, and man, am I being understated when I say that. How would you feel about him being Secret Service director?
I can't imagine anyone who I feel more fiercely combative with than Dan Bongino. If he were to walk into a bar and I was having a beer, we probably square off. We disagree on everything. I think he has his own set of facts. I think he's a provocateur. But I go back to what I said about Major Pete. I have no issue at all with his honesty, his credibility, his character, his patriotism, his love of the Secret Service. I think all those things are positive for Bongino. And, I think that in some ways, all of these people in the cabinet, and you could name others as well, Dr. Oz, are great on TV. They are bigger than life. They're great communicators. I see where the president-elect is going with this cabinet. Can they do the job, the day-to-day, the administrative stuff, running these businesses? And they are giant businesses, even though they're government agencies. I guess we'll see. Some will, some won't. But with Bongino, I would, let me put it this way. If I was a target and Bongino was on the job, I feel that Bongino would keep me safe. He would do the job, Brianna.
That is very...